the official petition. Remember, online petitions do not count. You need to sign in person, sign the actual petition. You need to be a registered voter, but they have until March 17th to turn all of that information into the county registrars. The counties then will have 30 days to verify those signatures and turn them into the state. And if the threshold of registered voters is reached, which is a little bit over 1.4 million, let's call it round up, 1.5 million valid signatures sign this petition, the lieutenant governor will then have somewhere between 60 and 80 days to schedule the special election for the replacement governor. And that's not, that means that the election could happen as early as the summer or as late as the early fall. And at this point, the Republican Party hasn't even named a successor, nor do they even have the state guidelines on how to do this. And you would think that having had gone through this once before in the state in 2003 when Governor Gray Davis was recalled and Governor Schwarzenegger was elected, that the party would have something contingency. But they're going to be talking about that because it's looking very real that the possibility of this recall will happen, and the state Republicans will want to have somebody they can endorse.
Absolutely, and the woman I was speaking to as well mentioned that anybody, and she said this is just typical of the state of California, anyone can get on this ballot. You just pay a simple fine. So there can be 10 people, there can be 100 people, and it's really simple. When it happens, it says you go in, say the day of the election, it'll say, do you want to vote to keep Governor Newsom? Yes or no? If you click no, you choose who your candidate is from this list of, again, 10 to 100 people. I am in favor, hear me out, of putting Brick Suit on the list for California's next governor. I mean, seriously, why not? How much could it cost? What do you think?
I don't know how much it would cost. I'm not sure I could do a worse job than Gavin Newsom.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the bar is so low. My pinky toe. I'll put Liz Willis's toe.
Do I get the free French laundry benefits? Do I get the fabulous $12,000 lunches?
Yeah, I do. You can get haircuts whenever you want and fancy dinners wherever you want.
As a serious note, I've been hearing Rick Grinnell's name thrown about here. I mean, I would like to see him as a possibility. There are some people who I believe would be viable, and much better viable options for governor than myself. Yes, 100%, but much better than Gavin Newsom as well.
It's pretty wild. So not only, of course, we're in California, hot topic of today. I'm thinking about stepping away a little bit from the speakers. Can we step that way?
Sure, we can move that way.
Sorry. It's pretty loud. I don't know if this is any better. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's not just California. We also have New York City right now that has a governor that's not so hot. So it's pretty crazy. What do you think the odds are of California and New York getting a new governor in the same year?
It's hard to tell you. The interesting thing is completely different reasons. Because in New York, boy, there might be actual criminal charges there. There might be cover-up charges. The situation with Governor Cuomo and his mishandling of basically taking people who tested positive for COVID and putting them in nursing homes. Instead of the facilities that have been provided by the Trump administration, the hospital ship was there. The Javits Center had been reconfigured to handle patients. Instead of Governor Cuomo, instead of the optics of being helped by the Trump administration, basically put people who went to the hospitals and then were discharged into nursing homes where they spread COVID, and then that's looking really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like that in terms of the sentiment of getting Governor Newsom out of office, but if it happens in New York, it'll be for a different reason. I don't think that they have the same recall mechanism in play that California does. But the underlying thing that ties those both together is the current of populism. I mean, this is basically a populist movement that's not so much partisan, where people are dissatisfied from the ground up and demanding change from their leaders. This is not something that's coming from top down. This is coming from the bottom up. And boy, if you are a member of the political elite, you should be scared, because this is how you get thrown out.
Yeah, and I think it has a a lot to do as well with media, and well, not just media, but also people like these patriots that are out here today, holding them accountable for their actions. If there are 2 million people that don't want Newsom in office, their voices should be heard. And it's really easy to think, oh, 1.7 million nowadays, because numbers are so almost out of touch with reality. The way petitions are online, anybody can sign these online petitions. You can change your VPN and register. But that is 1.7 million people have gone in person to sign this petition. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, it's unheard of nowadays. I'm just, in case you couldn't hear, talking about the fact that 1.7 million people actually showed up to sign this petition.
Correct. And to put that number, the reason the goal is 1.5 million is the state of California mandates that about 12% of the people who voted in the last federal election need to sign a petition to get it through the next stage. And that's why they're shooting for that 1.5. I'm hoping it will make 2 million. And like I said, if you are a registered voter in California, make an effort. Find the place where these petitions are being signed live. That's where you need to go. Don't mistake an online petition. That's probably just some sort of effort to gather your information. It's not going to do anything for this petition. Find where it's being signed live. Go there, make the effort, sign it, and all you're doing is, sending this along to the next stage where California will vote on whether or not to keep Newsom or to replace him with a substitute governor.
As early as August or September, I believe. Is that correct?
Absolutely
that's
correct.
What you're thinking?
Yeah, that's as soon. It could happen as soon as that. And the interesting thing about this in the state of California is not that there's one underlying issue that Governor Newsom can be held accountable to. There's definitely the people who characterize his political handling of the COVID crisis. He certainly had a misstep in November where he had a private dinner at a very posh restaurant in Napa Valley, the French Laundry, party of 10. None of them were wearing masks at a time where masks were called for, ostensibly because that was listed as being an outdoor dining venue, even though the room had 3 solid walls and just 1 glass partition open to a patio. So, really, people are dissatisfied with their state leaders having one policy that they're trying to enforce upon all the residents and disregarding that policy for their own personal use. And in each city, there are local issues. I mean, we're talking small businesses that have been in families for, in some cases, generations. We're talking nightclubs, we're talking bars, we're talking restaurants, the type of businesses that have been impacted the most harshly by the COVID start-stop shutdown that the state of California had. And people locally have those issues that they're concerned with. And I think that in general, if the state of California could say, hey, we've done this, but look, our state is so much better in terms of how the COVID virus has spread in our state. We're in such a better position than states that were not on lockdown, that the citizens of California would accept that. But that's not the case, because if you look at Texas, if you look at Florida, California is not in better shape than they are, and those are states that did not have lockdowns. California is not in better shape than South Dakota. Now, South Dakota compared to California, that might be apples and oranges, but Florida, very similar, mix of urban and rural environment, very similar climate, and totally dissimilar situation regarding how both those governors have responded. DeSantis in Florida being held for his success in keeping their economy going. And I'll tell you, one thing that Governor Newsom is successful at, this isn't talked about, one thing that he can do very well, one thing he's successful at running, he's successful at running businesses out of the state of California. And many of them are going to Florida. Many of them are going to Texas. I wouldn't be surprised to see, Elon Musk has moved out of the state. I wouldn't be surprised the next 5 years if he takes Tesla manufacturing with him.